It is used to bring about connection, sitting together with your friends. And we know this year has been a year like no other, and we want to thank you for hanging in there. And many thanks to past President Shannon Vandiver and Vandiver Legal for sponsoring these gifts. Thank you, Shannon. So while we're in the spirit of celebration, we are, as we're working to embed DEI throughout the league, and as an organization that is committed to DE&I, if we didn't acknowledge what happened this weekend in Buffalo, New York, a few days ago. I would like to have a brief moment of silence to recognize the lives lost. Please share with me and join me in a brief moment of silence.
I needed it to be recorded.
Oh, I missed the first.
Now,
2 minutes.
tonight,
Okay.
let's handle our JLC business. Celebrate our accomplishments this year and continue to lift one another. We will now have a reflection by our president-elect, Christina Kroczak, followed by a finance update from our CFO, Walker McClear.
You advancing?
Yeah, I clicked on it. It didn't.
Is it?
No, it's the next one. Is this supposed to be working?
Hey guys.
Yes, it should.
Last
but
week,
You're just gonna have to tell me at this point. I
Okay.
have to bounce in and out.
I had the opportunity to attend the AJLI annual conference. During one of our sessions for the incoming 2022-2023 presidents, we were encouraged to write a letter to ourselves to be delivered a year later. Now, this is not the first time that I've written a letter to my future self. When I was starting to apply for colleges, I wrote a letter to be opened 10 years later. The handwriting was really bubbly, and the goals were very direct. I was to attend a very specific college, which I didn't attend. I was going to have a very specific job, which I never held. And I was going to marry Dave Matthews, which I did not. I actually upgraded though. So in 2019, I went through a similar experience. It was at the direction of a work mentor. Again, very specific goals. I was going to visit at least one new country in 2020. I was going to get a raise, and I was going to focus on family experiences, like going on trips, going to the amusement park, going to sporting events. So you guys can all probably guess how successful those things were in 2020. So going back to Friday, I have
and it took a lot of thought. I realized that really I framed everything wrong. It's not the action, it's the outcome that matters. So we didn't go to sporting events, we didn't take trips.
I'm hearing that the
So
mention
those
that.
things this year may not have
Can you
gone
boost
the
it,
way I
please?
wanted them to. You guys are showing us tonight that the outcomes are still here and the outcomes still matter. So with that, there's my reflection, and I'd like all of you to just take a minute to reflect on what
That's fine.
Y'all, it's hard doing a financial update after that. Thank you all for being here. It's exciting to see all of y'all's faces after 2 years. This is my very exciting financial update I know y'all have all been waiting for. You want to go to the next slide?
Next slide.
Actually. Yep, no, somebody just.
Perfect. So I hate this phrase, but we are in our second unprecedented year, second COVID
It
as
doesn't
year.
work that time.
It did work?
For the year out with approximately
I'm not changing anything right now.
$60,000 with anticipated deficit. That was projected with the optionality to pull from our agency 3 funding should we need it. We didn't put it in. We crossed our fingers and hoped we wouldn't. We were right. So we are projected to end this year without a deficit and do not, thank you. Yeah. And given that we don't anticipate pulling from agency 3, any funding, especially from foundation or anything that we thought we might have to pull, we were able to ensure and that we could financially drive mission-driven activities and not the of our foundation, our financial needs. Go to the next slide. Because that, keep that in mind when you look at the next slide.
She's not muted.
We were projected to do a deficit last year, or this year. We were projected to do a deficit the year before, and this year we're also projected to do a deficit. It's slightly less than we were projected to last year. As you can see in that bright yellow, I think it's a happy color. We're not anticipating needing to go for agency through funding. So while we are going into a deficit year, just with our strong financials we've been able to accomplish the last 2 years, Rachel, our VP, and our next CFO, and I are confident that we will be able to maintain a surplus in the next fiscal year. All that being said, we're excited to see the way that we're going to spend our money next year, maybe save our money next year. And if you or any of your committees have any outstanding reimbursements, if you could try to get those to us by May 25th, so we can get those checks to you in this fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you, Walker and Christina, for the great reflection. All right, come on out. So the Focus Advisory Committee is an ad hoc committee charged with completing an assessment of our current community focus area and making a recommendation for either continuing, modifying, or creating a new focus area for the next 5-year cycle. This includes evaluation of effectiveness of school-ready efforts, as well as research of community needs, membership interests, your interests, in order to develop a focused, issue-based approach to league involvement in our community. I would like to welcome board.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, on behalf of the Focus Advisory Committee, I move that the membership accept the proposed focus area for the 2023-2028 as presented on the ballot.
The motion comes out of a committee and therefore does not require a second. And at this time, we will move to discussion, beginning with a presentation from the Focus Advisory Committee about the basis for the motion. Please proceed with your recommendation.
Okay, as you see on the screen, we already have our recommendation and you received that on ballots earlier this week. So how did we get there? Well, it all started with a great group of women on our next slide.
Those kinds of things.
These are active sustainers, community leaders, past presidents, women from human resources, the Community Impact Council, and some with as many as 30 years of league experience. On the next slide, you're going to see the timeline that we followed the entire year. We know that you've seen us at every GMM, and I'm sure you're loving hearing from us every time. It started with our September membership survey. Then we continued research based on that feedback. We presented all of our updates at the next 2 GMMs, so this will be our 4th presentation to you. Not to mention that we held 2 different town halls where we let members, active sustainers, transfers, and provisionals all come and ask questions as they needed to. As Kelly mentioned, on the next slide, we do have our focus area overview. This is to allow the JLC to have more impact, focusing our efforts on a specific issue in the community. And it's reviewed every 5 years to ensure we're being effective volunteers and maximizing impact. Previous focus areas include the Healthy Family Initiative and the Healthy Child Initiative, up to our School Readiness Initiative now. So from our 2 membership surveys, we heard from you. And on our next slide, we're going to tell you what you told us. You prefer to work in Charlotte. You want to volunteer after work and on the weekends. You're pleased with our work on school readiness. You wish to impact children's mental and physical health, and you specifically want to work with children
If your car is
4 to
out
10
of
years
warranty,
old.
you gotta call Car
You're
Shield
going to see
today.
the survey
Because
results
when your
broken
car breaks
down
down,
and then the
you're
research
the
that
one that
followed
toting
that
the
got
bill.
us to the
Car
final
Shield
recommendation
administrators
that
help get those repairs paid. That's straight up savings on car
Next
repairs.
slide.
So pick up the phone
So,
and call
over
Car Shield
56% of
before
you
your car breaks down. Darlings,
would like to impact
very
children's mental
important.
and physical
Call
health.
before your car breaks
Out
down.
of that,
Let's keep it
next
real.
slide, please.
We rely on mechanics with
That's the
extensive
breakdown
knowledge and
of that
experience to
over
fix our
56%,
cars.
48%
I
of
trust Car Shield
sustainers,
with my baby.
54% of
And you
active and
should too.
transfers,
Car Shield has
57%
plans
of
that
individuals
include protection
prefer
on
mental
major
and
parts and
physical health.
systems like the engine,
Moving on to the
transmission,
next slide.
entertainment system, air conditioning,
So from
electronics,
all this
and
research
more.
we did in the
The Car
process,
Shield
we
administrators
learned
will
just
be
the
Charlie,
highlights of
Charlie, stay here.
the items that we learned.
also
The
hit
emergency
emergency
department visits related to mental health
flag or
increased
damaged
24%.
tires.
Mary
For
Jo, you're
5
not
to
on
11
mute.
year
Can you
olds
mute
in
yourself,
January and
please?
October of 2020.
All I know is just
Obesity is trending upward in 1 in 5 children and adolescents in the US. And in Mecklenburg County, the zip codes form a crescent-shaped area of poverty and low educational attainment around the center city of Charlotte. So on the next slide, you'll get a visual of the zip codes. And if we're all familiar with that with our current focus area, school readiness, which zip codes are 28205, 28206, 28208, 28212, and 28216, and 28217. And on to the next slide. And of course, with all the work we've done, this is a lot of combined resources that we use within the community. We did research on a national, state, and local level. So we made sure we were providing a significant amount of information to make our decision, to our recommendation to narrow down the next focus area for 2023 to 2028. And finally, leads us back to our recommended proposal. Next slide, please. Which was approved by the board, in which the Junior League of Charlotte will allocate financial and volunteer resources to promote, support, and provide access to mental and physical health programs and services for children, kindergarten to 5th grade in Mecklenburg County public health priority zip codes, as indicated earlier. And we will do this with 3 pillars, where we will promote healthy living, support mental well-being, and provide access to healthcare and food. And back over to you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Amanda and Carolyn and your entire committee for all the research and hard work that it took to get to this place. I really appreciate you. So at this time, is there any discussion from the body? If you are in person, you may come to the microphone. There's one on each side. If joining virtually, please post your question in the Zoom chat. Please keep the discussion germane to the topic of the focus area. And by way of reminder, we have designated 5 minutes for this discussion. Also at this time, I'll request that all members please stop commenting in Zoom if you are, and only post a comment if you have a specific question. Again, please stop posting comments in the chat and post your name and your question if you have one.
Sorry, I walked right past the microphone. Heather Wood, I've been active in the Junior League for 6 years now. One thing I wanted to bring up or discuss about maybe extending the age range to 14 years old, which I think brings it up to 8th or 9th grade. Suicide rates in children are up from ages 10 to 14 by 60 to 70%. In those youth ranges because of the pandemic and social media and other ranges, that I feel like we're really missing a huge opportunity to maximize some of the great work we could do in regards to the specific part of mental well-being. And that's something I'm very passionate about. So I just wanted to bring that up for discussion and thoughts of if that would be it on in the full plan.
Thank you so much, Heather. I will now pass to Amanda and Carolyn to provide a response.
Thank you for your feedback. I think the biggest thing is that during the survey, we had that option of doing adolescents, and we had an overwhelming response to still work with children. And that is why at this time, we're not expanding it as our recommendation.
I would also like to add to that. That is true. The survey did state, and I don't see where you are. Can you wait for a moment? Hi there. So one of the reasons, yes, was the survey. Our members clearly or indicated that their preference was the age range that you saw or that you see on the screen. However, I will say that community partners, as long as they serve children that meet this criterion, we can still partner with them even if they serve children that are older. So I wanted to just point that out. And that's the same is true for zip codes. So as long as they serve children in at least one of those zip codes, then that's someone who can still apply to partner with us. And also another point is we want to really, as much as possible, narrow our impact so that our scope so that we can really maximize our impact in a specific area. Thank you. Any other questions? I appreciate that, Heather.
There were no questions or comments from the chat.
Okay, thank you. Pause one more second. Okay. All right, then. All right. So I'm getting my place. If there are no further questions, we'll now move to voting on the motion, which is to approve the proposed focus area for the 2023-2028 years as presented by the Focus Advisory Committee. All active members can do this by using the electronic ballot that was emailed to you on Saturday within the Know Before You Go email. It is within the Know Before You Go email, so check your email there. And that ballot will stay open for at least 24 hours. Also, the GMM committee, for those that are online, will place the link to the ballot in the chat. All right, thank you so much. Wait. Yes, thank you so much, Carolyn and Amanda. All right, thank you. All right. I would now like to welcome Whitney Hill, Executive Vice President, for the presentation of a motion coming out of the Fund Development Council as approved by management team and the Board of Directors with regard to the proposed fund development model.
Madam President, I move that the membership accept the proposed new fundraising model as presented on the ballot.
The motion requires a second. Is there a second? So seconded. At this time, we will move to discussion, beginning with a presentation on the basis for the motion. Please proceed.
As Kelly said, I am Whitney Hill, this year's Executive Vice President. Tonight, on behalf of our Fund Development Council, I am presenting our new proposed fundraising model. FDC Chair Alexandra Whitesell could not be here in person, but she is online with us and prepared this presentation and notes for me to share this evening. So thank you, Alexandra. I know we saved the last GMM of the year to talk about money, but hear me out. This change is important as it provides JLC members like you more flexibility, more opportunity and training, and increases our mission and impact, like providing more dollars to our partners. And we are, after all, change agents. While I'll provide an overview of this model this evening, we have previously discussed this change at the March GMM. Shortly after that, we sent out a detailed communication explaining the history of the JLC's fundraising and recommendations from an external fundraising task force. And we have held 2 town halls to present information and receive questions from our members. What we heard from our members through these town halls and other meetings is that this is a welcome change because it can further our mission and impact while alleviating financial concerns and burdens on our members. As you all likely know, our current fundraising model allows the JLC to take in revenue from donations to annual fund, the Little Black Dress Initiative, or LBDI, corporate sponsors, or ticket sales from fundraising events.
We also receive funding through planned giving and the JLC Foundation. However, these are not primary sources of revenue and cannot be accounted for in our budget process. And as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have not held ticket-based fundraising events since 2019. So with that being a significant source of revenue, what were we to do? Next slide, please. Last league year, we created a fundraising task force to comprehensively review our fundraising and make recommendations on proceeding. One of the recommendations was to increase the annual fundraising requirement from $50 to $100. Another recommendation was changing this requirement to a give-get model, allowing members to solicit donations from others to meet this goal, rather than our current give model, which asks members to donate their own funds. We currently have roughly 480 active members. This increase would provide the JLC with over $24,000 in additional revenue each fiscal year. The proposal is in the pending motion is to change the amount of the fundraising obligation from $50 to $100. And the way this obligation is satisfied is changing so that you can get $100 from your network instead of being required to give the fundraising obligation. And as this year's successful LBDI campaign demonstrated, tapping into your network to support the JLC's mission with financial contributions is easier than you may think. By seeking donations to meet your annual goal, our members have an opportunity to own their philanthropic competencies and practice your elevator pitch to your friends and colleagues. And the biggest benefit is if you raise the full $100 in donations from others, there is no out-of-pocket requirement for the member herself. Next slide, please. So you may be asking yourself, why do we need to change our fundraising model or increase fundraising? As a brief history lesson, the JLC had a thrift store called The Warehouse, which opened in 1936. While it briefly closed in the 70s, the Warehouse was a source of revenue for the JLC for over 75 years. Before closing in 2017, members were asked to donate $100 of merchandise to the Warehouse for resale each year, in addition to purchasing $50 in tickets to events or donations to the annual fund. When the Warehouse closed 5 years ago, we never replaced that source of income. We also need to make this change to ensure the sustainability of the league. While we've been in Charlotte for 96 years now, we want to make sure we're here and that we have the funds in place for another 96 years. And most importantly, we want to make sure we can continue providing meaningful funds to our community. The dollars we raise each year in fundraising are the dollars that are allocated to go back into the Charlotte community and our mission spend. So you may ask why we should increase fundraising since the JLC gets money from dues. While you've heard this in more detail at a prior GMM from Rachel Besnoff, the VP of Finance, generally our dues go towards operating costs, as you can see on the screen. In contrast, our fundraising dollars go to our mission spending, including our training programs and dollars to the community. If we are passionate about improving our community and developing the potential of women, part of our mission statement, then we need to ensure we have the funds to do those items. Next slide, please. While this may sound like a significant change, this is what we've been doing with LBDI for the last 7 years. As you can see, in 2021, the average fundraising per participant was $350, and 84% of participants raised $100 or more. In 2020, 87% of participants raised $100 or more. And this year we had a massive increase in participants, up to 61, 18 higher than the year before. And 75% of participants raised $100 or more and would have satisfied their obligation. So in summary, the new proposed model is a $100 give-get model that allows members to choose any combination of either paying, giving, or fundraising, getting $100 through donations, ticket sales, and corporate matches. As a reminder, the decision to create, change, and close out different fundraising models are made after significant evaluation and discussion by leaders, and always with the input of our members. We will answer any questions you may have, and if you could go to the next slide, you can see that Alexandra has compiled many FAQs from the town halls. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. I appreciate that presentation as well as the work by the Fund Development Council. As you can see, they put a lot of thought into preparing this presentation and providing you the information and the rationale for this decision and recommendation. At this time, are there any questions from the body?
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Avery Shaw, and I'm a provisional And I am in support of raising the fundraising amount. I totally see the legitimacy behind it and agree with the causes that we're supporting with our additional funds. One question that I have is related to the materials and documentation provided to the members to help support this additional fundraising. Have you guys thought about resources that you can provide the members or 501c3 documentation that we can provide to folks who are interested in donating to the cause?
Thank you so much. Did you say your name is Avery?
Yes, Avery Shaw.
Avery Shaw, thank you so much. I will now pass to Whitney to provide a response.
Well, congratulations on not asking a question that we have been asked before in any of our town halls or in emails. Part of the goal is that we will provide a level of education to our members on how to make an ask. That was part of the documentation that was provided by the external consultant, Next Stage, who did this recommendation. They had some infographics, encouraged us to provide training, break down how easy it is to make an ask. Additionally, since we are a 501c3, our Form 990, which is our tax document for the year, is publicly available on our website as soon as it's filed and approved by the IRS, the first form. And we do provide tax receipts for all donations made by anyone individually. So for instance, if you got a check from your mom or your friend and then donated to the league with your name, we wouldn't be able to provide your mom with the tax receipt. But if they make direct donations, then we do provide those tax receipts that they can use on their tax returns each year. I think that answers your question, but please let me know if I missed something.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Avery. Are there any further questions?
I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Yes.
Just
Walker.
to add, sorry, Walker.
Walker McClear.
Here again. Whitney said that $24,000 would be potentially added if this were to pass. The deficit number I provided you all with a few moments ago did not include this initiative. So that would reduce our deficit or potential deficit by over a third. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments, in person or via Zoom? Are there any further questions? All right, hearing there are no further questions, we will now move to voting on the motion, which is to approve the proposed fundraising model as presented and proposed by the Fund Development Council. All active members can do this by using the electronic ballot that was emailed to you on Sunday within the know before you, Saturday, within the know before you go email. Please go to your inbox and check your email. We'll also send out a new email as well, but that's where you'll find the ballot. And we'll also post the ballot in the chat for those who are on Zoom. And the ballot will stay open for 24 hours.
Can you do what? Can I fly to Tennessee by myself to a gala? Well, I'll go say this to Puerto Rico.
And
Did
also
Dad
Alexandra
ask you
Whitesell and the entire Fund
Did
Development
Dad
Council.
give you that?
All right, so to
I don't know.
conclude,
He
yes,
asked me.
yay.
Yeah. He asked you? Yeah.
To conclude our voting segment of the meeting, please note that per the policies and procedures, the nominating committee is designated to collect, count, and record all membership meeting ballot results.
I don't think it's
Accordingly, the members of
Why
that
not?
committee will act
No
as our
one else is
tellers
gonna
and will
be around.
collect
It's
and
different.
count
It's
the
like
ballots.
your
The
dad
electronic ballot
or your
voting will
uncle
be
were
open
there
for
and
at least
you were
24
with her for
hours to
like,
ensure
you know,
everyone has the opportunity to
during the
cast
day
their
and
vote.
stuff.
All
Crystal,
right,
please
so
mute
next we'll
yourself.
have an introduction of our guest speaker by JLC past president and former AJLI board member, Whitney Wilson Works. Thought I had your ears on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to have the honor today to introduce Patsy Dorr. Patsy is our current Chief Executive Officer for AJLI. Patsy leads all facets of AJLI and serves as the face of the organization, advocating in both the public and private sectors. Patsy has deep roots in the Junior League and has been a member of the Junior League in both New York and London. Patsy is a leading expert and thought leader in the field of corporate social responsibility, diversity and inclusion, and sustainability. Her greatest passion is helping organizations build and develop initiatives that best position them for long-term success in a diverse global environment.
You okay?
In fact, most recently, before we were able
You want to do
to
fishy or
send
bottle
Patsy
first?
away and have her join AJLI,
Okay, I'll be right back.
she redefined and led the diversity and inclusion function with her former employer. In this role, she was responsible for building and developing teams and initiatives that help drive diversity and inclusion efforts forward. Prior to this, she built and led the diversity and inclusion, corporate and social responsibility, and sustainability functions at Thomas Reuters globally, as well as served as an advocate externally on the topics of social impact and stakeholder capitalism. The strength of Patsy's experience and impact has made her a regular on the speaking and media circuits. She's been interviewed by a number of publications and programs, including Forbes magazine, The Muse, The Hill, and Thrive Global. Patsy is frequently tapped to discuss D&I issues and has become featured as events around the world, not just within AJLI. Additionally, Patsy serves on several boards that aid in the advancement of women in developing markets, as well as diversity in education. Patsy has held a number of board and community leadership positions, including being an advisory board member of All In Together, a member of the Multiplying Good Board of Governors, and she holds a leadership role on the board of Women's World Banking. Patsy has received several awards for her achievements, including the Most Powerful and Influential Woman Award by the Tri-State Diversity Council, Promoting Workforce Diversity and Gender Equality Award from the City State Reports, and the United Nations Decade of Women Quantum Impact Award. Patsy and her 2 children and husband live in New York City. She has an 18-year-old son, Nicholas, and an adorable 15-year-old daughter, Ella. And if you all could please help me give her a warm, warm welcome. Patsy.
You two are so smart. Thanks, Doc. So smart. We can run that forever. Well, maybe not forever.
We don't know.
I can tell you. I miss him.
I miss him too.
Feel misses. This one.
Thank you very much, Whitney. That was a humbling introduction. I'm hopeful that we can live up to some of those expectations, but I'm delighted to be here today and see all of your wonderful faces in person and to
I
this exciting role looking to advance women in our communities.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're so thrilled to have her. So just give her one more round of applause. So we were at the conference, AJLI's annual conference this past weekend, and Patsy and I talked about her joining us months ago, back in February. And she said, "Oh, of course, I'll come join you." But you know, obviously we had a conference, and she still came, despite the fact that she has been out of town for 4 or 5 days already. So just thank you so much for that. So Patsy, we're delighted and thrilled that you're here with us. So for all of you, we wanted Patsy to talk to us about the future of the association and the role of the Junior League woman as a catalyst for lasting change in our community as we embark on our next century of service. You know, we just had our centennial toast out there, but it is a diverse global landscape. So we want to talk to Patsy about that and her experiences. Patsy.
Yes.
You've been our CEO a little over a year now. You're also have been a Junior League member of the Junior League of New York and London as well. We would love to hear you talk about your own experiences, what the league has meant to you, how it has been transformational for you personally and professionally, and why it matters so much.
Great question. And again, I'm delighted to be here. And of course, we planned our dresses accordingly. This is part of the plan.
Yeah.
And bear with me, I am very sarcastic, as Kelly knows. For me, it was very interesting. So as you heard, my background and experience is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, I might add, primarily in financial services. So major investment banks and also Thomson Reuters in New York, London, and Hong Kong. So the global component is really, really important to me. So cultural intelligence, cultural competence, understanding that piece. When I was actually offered this position, I was the chief diversity officer at Credit Suisse. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic, because I was a member, to your point. I live 6 blocks from the New York Junior League. But I'm junior league agnostic, as I said earlier tonight. And it was just wonderful, because I thought, what I care about, and as Whitney aptly and wonderfully described, and I so enjoyed working with Whitney over the past year and a half, is that, this concept of advancing women across all communities. And I know diversity is such a broad, emotive topic, right? And there's so many elements to diversity, and there's so many ways to think about it, diversity of thought, style, experience, and approach. But what we often forget, and when I say we, I mean the collective we, is that women aren't even close to where they should be, right? When I was at Credit Suisse this last round, I was there 2 chapters, actually, 10 years and then another 2. I was one of 12% of women who were managing directors globally across the entire 45,000 person organization. 12% in 2020. Right. So we have so much work to do around advancing women's leadership. And having had the personal connection with the association, and then having the opportunity to really drive the association forward, I thought, what a perfect opportunity, right? It blends personal connection, to your point, with my professional experience, my personal passion, and also an opportunity for change, right? We've been around for 100, the association has been around for 100 years. And frankly, we have a lot of work to do, which we can talk about. But I think it's important for us to really keep getting that message out there, that there's a lot of work to be done around advancing women in our communities all across the globe. And the only way that we can do that is by working together. And I'm so impressed, by the way, by the work that's happening here at JLC already, just seeing this presentation in terms of how impactful it is, and really focusing on the impact more than the work itself.
So throughout your career, and you've touched on this, you have been a thought leader and a champion for promoting workforce diversity and gender equality. And we talked a little bit about this at lunch today. Can you share why it is just so important for organizations to make this a priority? And why is it so important for the junior league to lead in this space?
It's a great question. First of all, I have to add on a personal note, to build off the first question and onto the second question. I was raised by a mother who drove a tank for the National Organization of Women in Houston, Texas in 1975. So this is how I was raised. So it was a passion from very, very early days. But I mean, I'm very much driven by research, and we talked a lot about this at the annual conference, and I'm very much driven by numbers, which is probably why I ended up in financial services for so long. Right, exactly the same. So it's the business case. I mean, the business case for diversity and inclusion is so clear now, and yet we still continue to have that conversation. I mean, there are multiple research reports out there, whether it's McKinsey, it's Deloitte, it's Harvard Business Review. I mean, every research report tells us that having more diversity and inclusion in an organization in any form, all aspects of diversity and inclusion, leads to greater engagement, greater productivity, and has an impact, a direct correlation to profitability and growth and the bottom line. So the business case is clear, right? And then secondarily, but not necessarily secondarily, equally, I should say, the social case is clear, right? We're in a society now which is so divided, not just in the US, but globally, and where this topic, again, is so emotive. And so the need for us to evolve as a society around what does diversity actually mean, to understand the history, particularly of race in the United States and globally, and to help people just understand what it means and why we are where we are today, in my view, is absolutely critical to success of society and business going forward. And if you look at the junior league, I've been looking at all of you and every junior league I go visit, and at the annual conference last week, we have such an incredible group of women representing so many different backgrounds and experiences, so many different industries and different voices at the table. We must act. I mean, we must behave collectively to take action on this topic.
One of the things that I found fascinating in the conversation that you had last week when you presented is you talked about this idea that diversity of thought is more impactful and means more than intelligence. So there are teams who have all the intelligent people in the room, but you're out there being outperformed by the groups that have more diversity and diversity of thought. And I think that was a point that Sally made as well.
Absolutely. And I think there's two elements to that comment. So Sally Kroczak, who some of you may be familiar with, she was one of our main speakers, as we well know, at the annual conference. And her whole focus is impact investing, which is all about investing in organizations that are either owned or focused on women's advancement, right? So she's really about investing your dollars in women, which is really important. And we talked a lot about just the fact that really at the end of the day, diversity is really about diversity of thought, style, experience, and approach, in my view, and her view, and a number of our views, right? And that's where you really get the value add. Because at the end of the day, you want to have as many different perspectives around the proverbial table to come to the best possible solution or to develop the most innovative product, that type of thing. The second piece I would say that we talked a lot about, and you and I talked about at lunch and at the conference as well, is this concept, and it's slightly tangential, but related, of learning agility, right? So being able to be around that diverse table of different experience and styles and approaches and take it to the next level and learn from those conversations, learn from those experiences. I always say that, again, getting back to research, because I'm a research junkie, the number one, if you may know this already, but I'll share it with you, the number one predictor of success in leadership, whether you're a CEO or a leader of any type, because we all can lead from every seat, is learning agility. Number one. Research over 30, 40 years, multiple data points. That is the number one predictor of success. So to your point, Kelly, it isn't just about intelligence. And in fact, it's about much more. It's about being able to learn from every experience and then take that on board and adjust our behaviors accordingly to really learn from those experiences. And to me, that's what diversity is all about.
So speaking of agility, that leads to my next question. So we did talk about that at annual conference. And we talked about agility being really the number one factor of success. Can you share a little bit about maybe some experiences that you've had where you've had to demonstrate agility and how that ability to do so led to
I don't know if
success?
you saw me being squirrely, but I have,
Yes, happy
I'm
to.
in the junior league here
Thinking as
and
we're
I don't.
speaking, should it be in the past year and a half that I've been at the association? I've learned from a lot of feedback, just in terms of, and I mean that seriously, actually, I think that's probably a good example.
We all have.
We all have,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. So I'll give you a couple of different examples, but starting with here, if that's fair, at the association. And as Kelly knows, and those of you who know me, I'm brutally honest, right? So one of the things that really surprised me when I took on this role was this dynamic between the association and the junior leagues. So what is happening here? I don't understand this what I found semi-negative dynamic, a lack of trust between the association and the junior leagues. And I always thought of them as one unit. I still continue to think that and will continue to think that and will continue to build that because I think that's really, really critical. And so the feedback sometimes has been difficult along the way this past year and a half, just about how that dynamic has been created and what the association needs to provide, but I'm listening. You know, I joke about the fact that when I first started the job, right, I had a 3-month listening tour planned. I think I spoke to about 250 individuals across the association, but I've quickly learned that my entire job is a listening tour. That's what I've learned. I've learned my job is to listen and to go out there and get the feedback, whether it's positive or developmental. I won't use the word negative, developmental, constructive feedback to help us be better. So that's one example, which has really been a journey, frankly, over this past year and a half, because I didn't really know exactly where we were and how far we had to go until I had spent, 5, 6, 8 months here at the association and within the junior leagues. And I think as part of my overall career, I worked in financial services. I know there are many people in this audience who work in financial services. It's a male-dominated industry. It's complicated. It's difficult. I mean, I was on the debate team when I was 13, so I'm very happy to take on a debate, but it's not always easy, right? So I think about a number of examples, and I won't go into every single one of them, but thematically, having to debate your theory, and particularly diversity and inclusion, prior to that, I was in talent development, and prior to that, sales, but always having to kind of have your position out there and have clarity of rationale and clarity of impact and clarity of accountability is something that I've learned over the years is just really important.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. And to circle back to the example you gave about your listening tour and the Junior League, we recently had our lead Saturday. Christina Kroczak, our president-elect over there, planned it. And one of the things we did talk about was feedback and getting feedback in the moment and being really comfortable asking for it. Being comfortable asking for the feedback so that you can be agile, change, and adjust and be better. And so that is a really powerful testament to your leadership and just being willing to listen. And the fact that she's here right now too. So thank you. So also moving along, you talked during the annual conference about the 6 signature traits of an inclusive leader, in which was a Deloitte article. Can you share a little bit about that article and why it's resonated with you and these character traits and why they're just so beneficial to leaders?
Very happy to. I'm still laughing that we're wearing the same color sitting in this, in this setting. We can just blend together. Yeah, it's so, okay, so there's some research that was done by Deloitte, as mentioned, that basically outlines what are the key characteristics of an inclusive leader. So why do I care so much about this? I care so much about it because I think that diversity and leadership are one and the same. In organizations where I've led and built diversity functions, it never works if they're not integrated, right? Because in my view, and I think many of us share this view, right? In order to be an effective leader, you need to know how to build and lead diverse and inclusive teams. They're not separate. They're one and the same. And so the research done by Deloitte, and I actually taught an entire course on it at NYU over the course of 3 months. It's that rich. So I encourage you all to take an opportunity to take a look at it, or we can even, I'm happy to send it out to you as well. But it basically identifies 6 characteristics of inclusive leaders and how does one embody them and action upon them. And so I'll name a couple of them for you, but I would look it up. So the 6 C's, Deloitte research, there's courage, there's commitment, there's cultural competence, there's collaboration, all of these, curiosity, all of these components that all sort of wrap up in a really neat package. Because again, there's so much research out there about inclusion and leadership, but it really does identify what are those core characteristics and how do you actually build them and how do you build them practically, right? Because research is great, but if you're not able to take it to the next level and actually apply it to your life on a regular basis, it's not that helpful. And this particular research gives you the opportunity to think about which of the 6 C's resonate for you and how do you actually build those that don't necessarily resonate for you, because they're all quite powerful and they all lead to becoming a more inclusive leader.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So I want to change the topic somewhat. In our association's centennial year, that's kind of a theme, the association made history last week by adopting a new mission statement. That was a really big deal. And so I want to read that for the group. We've talked about it as a league, but I'll just say it again right now because I'm very excited about it. So the Association of Junior Leagues International is an organization of women whose mission is to advance women's leadership for meaningful community impact through volunteer action, collaboration, and training. And that statement will be adopted by July 21st by 2024. So in your view, can you talk about why this change was so important and was an important step for the Junior League right now, and how you see this new statement impacting our association moving forward?
Very happy to. So we're very excited about this move forward. It's a step forward. And it's been a long process to get here, frankly. So why am I excited about it? I mean, I'm excited about it for a couple reasons, right? I mean, with the beauty of the association and the junior leagues, and you all have a couple more years or 4 more years before your centennial, and we have other leagues that are celebrating them now. We have this wonderful history, right? Our history is fantastic, and we want to build off of our history and celebrate our history, but we also need to be relevant, right? And we need to attract the next generation. And I think at this point in time, well, I know at this point in time, we, historically over the past 20 years, again, speaking brutally honestly, our membership across all of our 296 junior leagues in aggregate has been on the decline by about 6.8%. You can tell we're numbers people up here, right? And so we want to make sure that we're addressing that in a variety of different ways. And in order to do that, we need to address our strategy, how we operate, how the association operates, how we deliver back to our communities, which is most important. In order to do that, we want to make sure that our mission is relevant, is modern, has the language that reflects exactly who we are. Because if you really think about it, we didn't change our work in this mission statement, right? I mean, if you look at the old mission statement and now the new one, as the pillars are there, exactly. So we're taking those pillars and we're just modernizing them and taking it to the next level and making it a different message where we can attract more recruited members, where we can attract sponsors, partners, which is a big part of our strategy, as I think you all know, but really just to make us more modernized and make it easier to explain all the wonderful work that we do. And that's how we describe it in its simplest form, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patsy. I want to ask you a few lightning round questions, and then we'll open up to some Q&A for any questions that you all may have. All right, Patsy, really quick. Favorite pastime activity?
Running.
Favorite season?
Summer.
Who is your hero?
My mother.
What time do you go to bed at night?
Very late. I haven't slept in 25 years.
What is your hidden talent?
Oh, sorry. That's interesting. My hidden talent. I don't know if this is hidden and it may sort of go off your question, but it's related. I love being a mother. I really love being a mother, and I'm very proud of my two children. They both have very big hearts and they're very driven and they're just my favorite people.
I concur, Brandon and Caleb. All right, a few more, then we'll move on. What is the best advice that you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received, and honestly, I've utilized it through every aspect of my life, is to be strong and courageous while maintaining your femininity. And that wasn't always so easy. And when I first started, even though I'm only 29, but when I first started in the 90s, right after college, our alma mater, my friend here, Washington and Lee, going into financial services, it was, it was tough. It was a tough time. There, as we mentioned earlier, even in 2020, the 12% number. But I always wanted to make sure that I was able to maintain, being a feminine woman who was very strong with a strong voice.
I love that. Okay, we're almost there. What is in your Amazon cart?
Okay, so I'm not a big online buyer, to be honest. So my kids are mostly on Amazon, and it's for my daughter. It's all about lotions and facial products. I mean, I don't even know what is happening there. Or food. We're big foodies in our household,
Okay.
and we do a lot of cooking. So mostly food.
Okay, last question. If you could write a book, what would it be about?
It would honestly, and I hope this doesn't sound too cliche given our topic for this evening, but it would absolutely, because I'm actually contemplating it, if you must know, a book about advancing women in leadership and how do you become a most effective leader.
Thank you. First book signing, Junior League of Charlotte. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So does anyone have questions for Patsy online or here in the audience? Yes. Tony. Tony is our first Black president of the Junior League of Charlotte. Thank you.
First question was, what are your top 2 priorities for the association? And I'm saying it out loud for those online. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Tony, it's great to see you live in person. We've had a lot of, as we all have experienced, a lot of Zoom calls. My 2 priorities are very clear, actually. Providing the best service to the leagues and generating revenue so we're not so dues reliant.
All right. How will we bring, or how will Patsy bring, what is her plan or vision to bring all the leagues along in the association?
Also an excellent question. For me, you know, I've always been in roles of influence, Tony, and everyone, where I didn't necessarily have the authority to tell people what to do. So when you're a chief diversity officer at an investment bank or a chief diversity officer at a data-driven organization like Thomson Reuters, your role is to create influence, create strategy. This may sound a little corny, so bear with me for a minute. Build and they will come type scenario. And that is how I would like to see the association evolve. So we don't need to tell junior leagues what to do. You're doing a fantastic job. Why would we want to do that? Not that you're suggesting that, but that we build the resources, the reputation, the voice, the expertise, and provide the services that you want to come work with us. And that we can then in turn tell a more consistent collective narrative on the great work that's happening across all of the junior leagues across the globe.
Thank you so much, Tony. Any other questions? She's here. Oh, yes. Hi, Mallory.
Great question. Thank you, Mallory. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the questions, frankly. Well, first of all, even though I grew up in Manhattan and I live there, I am half Southern. My mother was from Louisville, Kentucky. And she was from an Irish Catholic family. So I have about 50,000 cousins all throughout the South, including this wonderful state and Texas. And I've spent a lot of time in the South, just as an FYI. That's more on a personal note. But also on a personal and professional note, I mean, I've had the opportunity to live in 3 continents. And I've always been, in my entire career since it began, again, back in the early 90s, admittedly, I've always been in a global role. And I tell you that because I've always been in a role where, like I described a moment ago, you know, where you're in an area of influence, there were always different constituents. So in previous roles, it was different countries or different parts of different continents, different parts of the world. And so I'm quite used to this concept. And it's not about me alone. It's about the team. It's about the board. It's about the association at large, really having an appreciation for those differences. So my view has always been, and this is not an exact science, but it's close in terms of numbers, is that 75% of our strategy is going to apply across the board. And we have to be flexible for at least 25% of it. Right? So we have to understand that not everything is going to work all across the board. We want to provide a framework, a way of operating, a set of resources, knowing we're going to have to actually make adjustments for different types of audiences, whether it's a different country, different state, different city in different states. So I'm very conscious of that. And that's how I think about it, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question, Mallory?
Thank you, Mallory. Well, with that, I just want to again say thank you very much, Patsy, for joining us tonight. Thank you all for your questions. But yes, please give Patsy a round of applause. You know, as I mentioned, Patsy was at AJLI's at our annual conference this past weekend. So we certainly appreciate you taking the time, joining, connecting with us. Really do appreciate you. And I know you have a flight to catch very soon. And so Patsy actually has a 9:30 flight. So thank you very much. I know everyone look forward to meeting you, and I will be in touch with you very soon.
Thank you, Kelly. It's such a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for this conversation.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. It's just amazing. It's a great group. I'm coming back if you have me.
Yep.
If you have me, I'm coming back.
Yes. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. All right. So I'll escort you.
Hello again. I am so pleased to present the annual Junior League of Charlotte Awards this evening on behalf of the management team. We will be recognizing your fellow JLC members, our internal and external committees, our community partners that have helped us further our current mission to promote volunteerism, develop leaders, and improve the community. I have asked our incoming Executive Vice President-elect Terry White to serve as my Vanna White this evening as putting her to work already. As the stage is very spread out, and I did not think about that when I arranged all of those awards over there. So our first award is for the Community Partner of the Year. You can see the description on the screen behind me, but additionally, the community partner builds effective collaborative relationships and has made outstanding contributions to the JLC and the greater Charlotte community. This year's recipient has been a great partner for the JLC and has consistently provided volunteer opportunities for our league members, allowing us to provide 2,221 hygiene kits and snack packs for children that they serve. It is my pleasure to announce that our Community Partner of the Year is Bright Blessings. Unfortunately, the staff of Bright Blessings was unable to be with us in person, but we will be presenting them with their award shortly. Our next award is for the In-League Placement of the Year. This award recognizes a team that exemplifies the mission and vision of the league, builds effective collaborative relationships across the league, and places team goals above personal ones while achieving a distinctive result. In nominations, this committee was recognized for going above and beyond and expanding the types of programming they offered, for their dedication, thinking outside the box, and giving our members ways to connect, something that was especially important this past year. For these reasons, I'm pleased to announce that our in-league placement of the year is the Social Committee. Committee chairs are Kimmy Vuxta and Lexi Narducci, which I hopefully said right. Yes. And for those, you can come on up. And for those, if any committee members are in the buildings this evening, please stand up and be recognized. It's a lot of stairs all over the place here. You unfortunately do not get to keep this award, but I would love for you to at least hold it and enjoy it for a moment. For those who are unaware, our community and in-league placement of the year awards are perpetual, I think, engravings. So they will go back to the league building where you can view them with the committee's name and year on them in the future. So. Thank you. And there's stairs over there if you don't want to make that long walk again. Thank you. Next, we will be recognizing the Community Placement of the Year. Much like our in-league placement, this team worked to exemplify our mission, and collaborated and developed our relationship with their partner organization. In nominations, this placement was recognized as having made its first year as a JLC placement a shining example of leadership, innovation, and dedication. Even when state and local mandates made it difficult to volunteer in person, this committee thought of creative ways to ensure that teachers, students, and parents were properly served. I'm happy to announce that our Community Placement of the Year is Charlotte Bilingual Preschool. Committee chairs are Jessica Mielek and Sydney Thomas. I don't know if either of them are present today or not. Oh, I see some movement. And if anyone present is on the committee, please stand as well so that we can recognize you. Or come up, either one. We got time. Yeah, come on. Again, I apologize, you do not get to take this with you, but it is beautiful. Will highlight your cheekbones when you stand next to it based on this reflection. So you're welcome. Now on to our individual awards. First up is the Sustainer of the Year, which recognizes a sustaining member who continues to play an active, oh goodness, valuable role in the league. We are not crossing this woman out. We are very happy to have her. She was recognized for being a strong support to active JLC leadership as well as her fellow sustainers. She has served in many leadership roles throughout her membership, including several in finance, and will continue to do so next year. She is respected and admired by her colleagues because of her commitment to the league. I am pleased to present the Sustainer of the Year award to Kay Sowers. Also, I hope Kay and her fellow award winners really enjoy the photos that I have chosen. This is from just some real solid Facebook stalking and comparing against the JLC directory photo. Next up is the Spirit of the League Award. This award recognizes a member who has gone above and beyond to further the league's mission and is often that person who provides that extra burst of energy in the room. This award winner has amazing energy and dove headfirst in her placement in her first active league year. Fellow league members noted that she always provides encouragement and never struggles to ask for help when she doesn't know the answer to a question. Though this nomination also noted that she rarely doesn't have an answer. Multiple nominations identified her as a light in any room, a true gem, and someone who fully embodies the mission and spirit of the league. It is my true pleasure to announce that this year's Spirit of the League is Ashley Crawford. From Facebook stalking, I thought it would be appropriate to include Ashley's daughter, Grace, who, as you can see, has been very active in the league this year as well, fundraising for Little Black Dress. Our next award is the Transfer of the Year, which recognizes a woman who has transferred into the Junior League of Charlotte from another city and jumped straight into her role in this organization. Nominations noted that this woman is engaged and excited to plug into the JLC and serve in her new community. I am pleased to announce the Transfer of the Year is Anna Riley. Not sure if Anna is here, so if you are, please wave your arms wildly. She went to the bathroom? Oh, man. Yikes. Well, if she returns, please let her know that she won, and we will want her picture. Thank you. Next up is the Provisional of the Year Award, which is for a provisional member who has gone above and beyond her requirements during this year. Specifically, this is someone who displays the attributes of a potential JLC leader. Nominations for this woman noted that she surpassed her LBDI fundraising goal, completed all of her volunteer hours in the fall, but continued to volunteer her time throughout the remainder of the year, more than doubling the required number of hours, and even involves her children in community service. I'd like to read a bit from one nomination that sums up why this recipient was chosen. She is an exemplary example of a provisional who has gone above and beyond. Passing on volunteerism and leadership skills to the next generation is imperative to improving our community, and she has done just that. I truly believe she displays the attributes of a future leader for the JLC, and she has already established herself as a respected and admired provisional. With that, it is my pleasure to announce that our provisional of the year is Frida Miller. Yeah, so Frida, I don't know if you're here with us or not, but who could say anything bad about this photo? This was my absolute favorite. I mean, that deserves a round of applause on its own. Next up are our two Lifetime Achievement Awards. The first, the Outstanding Service Award, honors a member who uses her JLC training outside of the league to better her community. If I read a full accounting of all that this award recipient has accomplished in our community, we would be here all night, so I'll attempt to just hit the highlights. This woman has been an impactful member of the JLC for 30 years. She has served the JLC through her leadership in community action, advisory planning, advocacy teams, and is currently on the JLC Advocates Board of Directors Task Force. She has dedicated her entire life's work to enriching youth, specifically children in the child welfare and juvenile delinquency systems. She has been involved in leadership roles with Race Matters for Juvenile Justice, the Children's Law Center, and the Z. Smith Reynolds Advisory Panel. She also started the Lunch with a Lawyer program and communication workshops for parents and teens. She is the founder of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated's Excellence in Youth program, which since 1998 has recognized thousands of 8th graders for their academic, athletic, and artistic accomplishments. She has been recognized for her leadership and advocacy efforts with many awards, including the Citizen Lawyer Award, the Partnership in Building an Inclusive and Equitable Community Award from Community Building Initiative, and the Order of the Longleaf Pine, and now the JLC Outstanding Service Award, just as exciting. After an illustrious career as a district court judge, she announced her retirement this year, but based on what we've seen, we know this doesn't mean that she's finished working to help youth reach their highest potential. As one nomination wrote, this award winner has used her talents and resources gained through the JLC to improve the social and economic conditions of others. Over the years, she's exemplified the Junior League mission and vision and made a positive impact in the Junior League of Charlotte and her community through her leadership in the JLC, other community nonprofits, and through her life's work and career. She exhibits a sense of strong and courageous social responsibility, as well as the ability to encourage others to share their talents through effective volunteer service. She remains highly connected, engaged as a JLC member, providing resources and opportunities for our members to advocate for children in our community. She sets a high bar for what it means to advocate, collaborate, educate, and serve the community, and is a strong example for others to follow. She is highly regarded as someone who creates an environment where people feel connected and safe to challenge one another to drive for change. As she retires from a long career in public service, it would be a fitting and well-deserved honor for her to receive this award. I am pleased to announce that this year's Outstanding Service Award, a true change agent, goes to Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell. Unfortunately, she was unable to join us, but we will make sure to present her with her lovely award shortly. Our last award tonight is our Founders Award, presented to a member who has dedicated herself to the JLC and the community during her membership. This woman has been active in the league since 2009, taking on leadership roles early in her membership. She has been the Human Resources Manager, Placement Coordinator, a member of the Member Initiatives Board Subcommittee, presided over the management team, was president of the JLC Foundation, and a former Junior League of Charlotte president. In an interview for the JLC blog earlier this year, she said, "In all these roles, I work to improve the JLC and member experiences, and I've learned from the people I've worked with in these roles. From examining investment policies to considering staffing needs in the hiring process to reevaluating the JLC's fundraising efforts, I broadened my skills and added to my comfort zones. But most importantly, I've become comfortable with being uncomfortable and with asking for help." Despite being offered the opportunity to take a break after what I know was a full year serving as president, she has stayed involved, serving as a sustaining advisor to not one, but 2 teams each year over the past 3 years. She continues to help train and mentor current JLC members and has been an invaluable resource to the league. In all of her work, she's been focused on developing the potential of the women around her, working together to solve problems, and seeing the rise to the occasion. And on a personal note, she will have any document you ever need from the Junior League archives, even a random GMM presentation from 2014. I am pleased to announce that this year's Founders Award goes to Arena Kirk. Do you want to say anything? You don't have to. No? Great. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Please give one more round of applause to all of our award winners. And for those of you who were present, please come up to the stage once this meeting concludes so that we can take some really formal photos and present you with some flowers as well. Now I am pleased to turn over the stage to Brandy Edwards, Scholarship Committee Chair, to announce our scholarship winners.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandy Edwards. As Whitney mentioned, I'm the Scholarship Committee Chair. I'm so excited to be here to recognize these outstanding women. And I recognize I'm standing between you guys and some really amazing culminating announcements and ceremonies. So I'm going to be brief, but I want to make sure that we take the time to really uplift and recognize these women. They are outstanding. They received phenomenal recommendations, and they really gave the scholarship committee a tough time in deliberating to identify who would be the scholarship recipients this year. I'm also excited to announce that this is the second year, and we are kind of breaking out of the mold with recipients in a different way. So if we could show the slide. Congratulations. This year, as I mentioned, we're doing things a little bit different. So I am very pleased to recognize two Cluett Scholarship honorees, Juliana O'Rourke and Amber Shannon. And ladies, as I call your name, if you will please meet me at the end, I will present you with a certificate and some flowers. I would also like to recognize apparently the most amazing person this year, Ashley Crawford, who is also our RISE Scholarship winner. And Whitney mentioned that Frida Miller is also our Provisional of the Year. So these ladies, not only have they been exemplary this year, but we are paying it forward and recognizing them with these merit-based scholarships. So they will have their dues paid for the 2022-2023 league year, as well as have complimentary registration for either LBDI or Get On Board. So ladies, thank you so much and congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I have the honor of recognizing all of our provisionals tonight. So I can't see you. These lights are very bright. But if you are a provisional here with us tonight, please stand up and let's all give them a round of applause. Yeah. Personally, I want to thank each and every one of you. You've done so much this year, and I know it's been an interesting year in a hybrid model, but we so appreciate you, and we can't wait to welcome you as active members to the league next year. And in order to celebrate just a little bit more, I want to make sure and remind all of you to come to the building on Thursday night to celebrate for your graduation party. There'll be gifts, there'll be drinks, there'll be food. So I can't wait to see you all there, and congratulations again.
Good evening. My name is Cassie Verardi, and I had the pleasure of serving as the chair of our transfer committee this year. And I would also like to recognize, before I get started in recognizing all of our wonderful transfers, Patrice Gibson, who has provided such wonderful leadership to our transfers this year. If we could just give her a round of applause. So each year we welcome transfers from all across the country. This year we had the pleasure of welcoming 44 transfers from 32 cities and 17 different states, including California, Florida, Georgia, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Ohio, and the list goes on. So at this time, I would like to ask any transfer in attendance to please rise and be recognized, as your names are all on the screen as well. And if you're attending this virtually, we also hope you're standing and giving yourself a pat on the back. But we welcome you, we love you, and we thank you so much for choosing the JLC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here today. I am Linda Baxter. I'm the current Sustainer President of the Junior League of Charlotte, and so happy and humbled and honored to be your president this particular year. Most important, we are here to recognize the active members that are going sustaining, and I want to personally thank each of you to believe in your belief of the league, continue going forward and taking the new membership level of becoming a sustainer. As you'll see on the screen, we have several new sustainers that are coming to us and becoming into what we would call sustainerhood. Our sustainers are very active, very energetic. In fact, we had our last board meeting this morning. So we have many service projects, we have many activities and events, and we encourage all of you to come and join and be part of it. So with that in mind, if you are active, becoming a sustainer, please stand so we can recognize you and thank you. Now, on another note, changing the agenda that's in the meeting, I would believe we want Christy to come to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I am Christina Quarterman, and I am one of the GMM co-chairs. And we would be remiss as the GMM committee if we did not get up here and say a big congratulations to our president. So on behalf of Frajavan, myself, the GMM committee, we just want to say thank you so much to Kelly. Like, you did it. You can relax. Go ahead and pop this open and drink it when you get home.
No, okay.
It has been a tumultuous year with us trying to get these meetings planned. And we just thank you so much on behalf of the GMM committee for just bearing with us. And we thank you so much for making this a wonderful year.
The thanks goes here. The thanks is all here. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you, because you're right. And all of this is because of you guys. And so thank you.
Thank you.
So much. One moment. Okay, so we're going to play a quick video in just a moment. What a year it has been. A huge thank you to our communications council manager and assistant managers, Juliana O'Rourke and Janika Buckley, who prepared this video that's really highlighting our work over this past league year. While we don't have enough time to recount all that we've accomplished together this year, we really just want to share some of the highlights in our year-end review. So as you all, many of you know, we have 487 active members, 898 sustainers, 93 provisionals for a total membership of 1478. And next year, we have 23 new sustainers, as Linda Baxter just recently mentioned, and 75 women have already signed up to be provisionals next year, and we're still counting. The list is growing. And so now I'll pass to Whitney Hill to share some about the great accomplishments from this year.
Thank you. We had 1,069 attendees at our various training programs throughout the year. This number includes 13 participants in Get On Board and 28 participants in the Leadership Development Institute. 25 JLC members participated in public policy and advocacy training sessions on the topics of partisan beat politics, city and county government 101, and an overview of advocacy. 238 women participated in our monthly training Tuesdays, which covered topics including how to be a community leader, emotional intelligence, and public speaking. We heard from civil rights pioneer and local legend Dot Count Scoggins and gave our members the opportunity to participate in a poverty simulation. Our blog team has posted articles every Monday since the start of this league year, driving a record high 6,653 blog views over the year. Communications prepared a press release on our week of service and thanks, which in the fall, which was picked up by local news to bring more attention to the work we do in our community. And in fundraising, it's about to get real exciting. We raised $52,092.01 for the annual fund, exceeding our goal of $36,500. We also raised $58,093 through LBDI, exceeding our goal of $45,000. So in total, we raised $110,185.01 this year in direct donations and matching gifts from our fundraising campaign, over $28,000 above our goals for the beginning of the year. We also brought back in-person social events, including monthly coffee meetups, happy hours, and additional activities like the boxing class and the Charlotte FC game last weekend. And in community impact, at the end of April this year, we had held 207 community events, assembled 3,408 bundles for our partners, had volunteers contribute 3,769 hours, and impacted 39,158 individuals in our community. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Whitney. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. We celebrated, as you know, our Centennial Anniversary with AJLI this year, along with 125,000 members in 296 other leagues across the world. We held town halls this year to solicit feedback from our members on AJLI's proposed mission statement and vision statement, which, as you heard tonight, the new statement that will lead us into the next 100 years. And your input was so important. Your feedback was shared and AJLI listened to its members. The association, and then our Focus Advisory Board Ad Hoc Committee, which we heard from earlier tonight, developed our newly proposed focus area to support the mental and physical needs of children in our community, which was presented, and a lot of work went into that process. And so thank you so much to that team. The JLC Membership Transformations Task Force laid the groundwork for a new member framework to assist in mapping and planning out your volunteer and member journey. The JLC Advocates Task Force connected us with local and state public officials to amplify our advocacy efforts. Our Membership Engagement Task Force worked hard to listen to your needs as members and find creative ways to connect our members and our teams. We co-planned the North Carolina statewide conversation on inequities in March, focused on the urban-rural divide, with 12 other North Carolina junior leagues and talking about how the urban-rural divide impacts education in different ways across the state. That included conversations with nonprofit leaders, state public officials, frontline educators from across the state, our very own sustainers, Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell, Dr. Monique Perry Graves. And the day culminated with an advocacy toolkit, which our members can then use to go further in the community and advocate on the issues that we learned about in that day. After years of task forces planning and laying the groundwork, this was our first year of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, as well as the first year of our slated DE&I roles of Chief and Vice President of DE&I. In the committee's inaugural year, they focused on ensuring leaders receive training that would support them in ensuring DEI is embedded across our league, including in our strategic plan, annual plans, and our culture. and ensuring we effectively partner with our community. Trainings that we have this year included areas such as unconscious bias, leadership skills to foster and sustain an inclusive environment, social capital, and building transformational relationships in our community. We could go on and on. In this meeting, we cannot share all the great things you have achieved this year, but as you can see, there has been a lot to celebrate, and you all have our deepest thanks for all of the hard work you've put in your various placements and teams this year to make this year such a success. Thank you all.
Tonight, as Executive Vice President, I pass the baton on to Terry White, who will step into this role during the next league year. For those of you who do not know, the Executive Vice Presidents, or EVPs, there's one thing I've learned over the last 2 years is that I need to keep saying what these acronyms are because it's just JLC word salad out here, establish this tradition, much like how the presidents pass the gavel. The idea is that as the EVP is the head of management team, which oversees the day-to-day operations of the JLC, we are running the race with you, our members. Serving as the Executive Vice President of the Junior League of Charlotte, you know, it's just something about the end of the school year, it gets y'all emotional, has been such an honor for me. Thank you to the 2019 and 2020 nominating committee all those years ago for the faith that you had in me to take on this role. The league is a safe space for us all to learn and grow. And I may have learned and grown a bit more than I anticipated when I first said yes in the fall of 2019. From a global pandemic, more use of the phrase unprecedented times than I could have ever expected, and honestly, a phrase I hope to never hear again. A crash course in crisis management, an increased workload in my career, a postponed wedding, replanning a honeymoon 3 times, finally getting married and going on that honeymoon, the loss of a pet, bringing home a new kitten. There has been a lot for me to personally remember, celebrate, and reflect on over the past few years. I have so appreciated the opportunity to grow, learn, and lead alongside all the other incredible women who make up our league. I'm especially grateful to the leaders of the management team. That's our council managers and assistant managers, risk manager, VP of finance, VP of nominating, and VP of DE&I, and my sustaining advisor, who was able to work with closely to ensure we carried out our mission regardless of the obstacles we faced. I am so blessed to have had a partner in Kelly who constantly encouraged me and sometimes pushed me to own this role. While there have been many challenges, or should I say growth opportunities, I wouldn't trade the experiences I've had or the friendships I've made. We, the Junior League of Charlotte, made it through 96 years so far. And as we were able to come out of the past few years unscathed, there is truly no limit to what we can accomplish together. Cheers to the past 96 years, and with hope for the years to come. I cannot wait to see all that we accomplish together to promote volunteerism, develop the potential of women, and to improve our community through the effective action and leadership to train volunteers. Although naturally, now that I finally memorized that mission statement, I've got to learn the new one. But hey, at least we finally have an Oxford comma in the new mission statement. I look forward to celebrating with Christina and Terry and all of you at this time next year as we welcome another group of new women to the league and undertake a new chapter of service in our next focus area. And now it's time to pass the baton, Terry. It's all you.
Oh, wow, this is cool. It's actually a baton. I didn't think there would be one. So, good evening, Madam President, all actives, provisionals, transfers, sustainers, friends, neighbors, and family. I won't speak long because trust me, you will hear plenty from me starting June 1st. I am honored and humbled to stand before you at this moment of transition and renewal. I've already had the pleasure of listening and learning from so many of you as I prepare to step into this office mid-league year. I want to leave you with 2 quotes before we move on to the next segment. The first is that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. I look forward to pushing the boundaries of league operational excellence with all of you over the next year. The second quote is from Dr. Joanne Chula. Leadership is not a person or a position. It is a complex moral relationship between people based on trust, obligation, commitment, emotion, and a shared vision of the good. As the 5th Executive Vice President of the JLC, I recognize that I stand on the shoulders of amazing women who forged a path that I am currently traveling and have embedded an obligation in me to make the journey just a little easier for Spencer and all those who will come after. It is with this sentiment that I, along with the 2021-2022 management team, that's the people about to leave, recognize our tireless, patient, and I am sure ready for June 1st leader, Whitney Hill. Whitney has endured significant changes during her term and has had to develop an expert level of agility to meet the needs of her leadership team and the JLC. Whitney, please know that we all recognize that you are a person, not just a title, and that we love and respect you for honoring your commitment to the operations of the JLC with integrity and resilience. Can you come here for a second? With that, the management team, I already dropped the baton. Look at that. That's a bad omen. The management team would like to present you with this present. And there is a third item on the way for you to your home. Hopefully your address in Digital Cheetah is accurate. When we were at the Dallas conference, there was a woman-owned wine company there. And every box of wine that was purchased there, a portion of those proceeds would go back to AJLI and the different leagues. And through some stealthy spy work, we found out Whitney's two favorite. And with non-JLC funds, we were also able to purchase her a 2-month box subscription for her favorite flavors in that. So from the current team, thank you very much for your service.
I just have to, I'm not on the agenda anymore, but I'm not done talking yet. I just have to say, if anyone watches Family Guy, my favorite episode of all time is where they're trying to decide if they want a boat or a mystery box. And they always say, what could be in the box? It could even be a boat. You know how much we've always wanted one of those. And that's all I could think of when you handed me this box.
Congratulations, Whitney and Terry. Okay, passing of the gavel. At this time, this is going to be a little different. I'd like to invite all the past presidents to the stage to stand next to me. And as they're gathering on the stage, I'll start my remarks. Thank you. This year has certainly had some surprises. It has been a year for change agents. Would you not agree? On top of our league careers, many of us juggled childcare, took care of our families, advanced and managed in our careers. Oh, they're lining up, y'all, in order. This is great. On top of their careers, many of us managed childcare, took care of families, advanced and managed in our careers, and tried to carve out space for our own growth. And we did so during quarantines, return to offices, pullbacks, re-return to offices, variants and continuous changes in how we work and live and serve, and we did all of this together. It really has been my honor to serve as your president this year. It has been my privilege. It's been my privilege because I have been able to call on past presidents, including many behind me today. It has been my privilege because I've been able to work shoulder to shoulder with an amazing board, with an amazing management team, task forces, subcommittee leaders, all of you. It has been my privilege because of you. And as I look around, I see the living embodiment of our mission, including our newly adopted mission statement with the Oxford comma. I see women committed to one another and committed to our community. I see my JLC sisters. The passing of the gavel is one of my favorite JLC traditions. It is one of my favorite because it is a visual representation of the sisterhood of the JLC. It is a visual reminder that you are not alone. And it's not just about past presidents. It's about all of the members that we represent. It's about the connection we all have to one another. It is about the community we stand for and stand with. In the Junior League of Charlotte, we are not alone. We stand together. And of course, I have experienced and benefited from this personally throughout my league journey, from both my JLC sisters and from my family. The JLC has afforded me a very safe space to learn new skills, develop new relationships, and impact the Charlotte community. And as I begin to transition to become a past president of the Junior League of Charlotte, I am so grateful for each of you and this really great organization that has helped me to shape as a community leader, an advocate, a colleague, a nurturer, a friend. I have grown so much through our experiences together, and I will forever be grateful. You all inspire me. I want to personally thank a few of the many people who have helped make this year possible and supported me and the JLC, and I'm starting to not be able to see. Okay. To my parents are the real in the trenches type of parents, y'all. They're here. Thank you for teaching me that it's not about me, but it's about what we do for others that counts. I'm so grateful for all the many ways you support our family and lighten the load however and whenever you can. No matter what you have going on, you always find the time. One day when I'm a grandparent, I want to be exactly what you are. To my amazing sons, Brandon and Caleb, who were 1 and 3 when I joined the league and have inspired me to try to help this community as much as I can. Thank you for the grace too. I will have much more time to make banana pudding and all of your favorites soon. To my husband and best friend, Brandon, who has supported me through all of my years as a member of the league, including when I came to him as a provisional and asked him to put all the dates on the calendar because this was something that was important to me. You have continued to support me in all the things that I do, including freshman year until now. For all the carpools and taxing, for the dinners that you've cooked this year, in the many hours of meetings you graciously supported, thank you. To my amazing sustainer advisor, mentor, and friend, Lori O'Keefe, who opened opportunities for me in the league and beyond, thank you. To my soror and mentor, the Honorable Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell, who was unable to be here, who has been one of my greatest champions and a source of encouragement. To our amazing board of directors who have worked hard to ensure the solvency of our organization for years to come and had to make some really tough decisions this year. You are an A-team, and I'm incredibly grateful to have you or have been in the arena with you this year. Thank you. To our task force and subcommittee leaders who carried forward some important initiatives on behalf of the board and our members, thank you. To our management team leaders who without their hard work would not have made our impact this year possible. I have enjoyed getting to know each of you this year and greatly appreciate all the things you do, big and small, even the small things that go unnoticed. To Linda Baxter for being an amazing leader as a sustainer president and a great support this year and a friend. To Terry, our incoming EVP, I don't know, oh, there she is. I'm so grateful to have had you as our EVP this year. You joined the JLC and became a shining star. You are a willing vessel and stepped up to leadership in a critical time. Thank you for saying yes and being the one. I so appreciate you and am cheering for you every step of the way. To Whitney,
I am so grateful to have had you as a partner these past few years. Thank you for taking my many calls because you know I'm a collaborator and I like to talk it through and talk it out. So, oh, and thank you to William for that too. You have been a great partner, a super fun partner, someone who, when you call, will roll up her sleeves and get the job done. Someone who I can count on and who I'm glad to call a friend. GMM committee that already came up here to thank me, thank you. The thanks goes to you. We wouldn't be here right now in this way, in this space, if it weren't for you. Thank you for all the ups and downs this year. Thank you. And lastly, Christina, our incoming president and my friend. I want to first say, I was so excited when they called your name to be PEE last year, except the year before. Y'all, COVID is making me forget years. I'm so glad we've had the chance to work together again. This year has not been a cakewalk, and we've been thrown many curveballs, but I feel fortunate to have had you there. We've been through ups and downs, lots of fun, surprises, and I appreciate the leadership and everything you've done to support me and the league in a year like no other. And I appreciate all the ways you are preparing even now to lead our organization next year. You are a great leader. If you look behind me, know that I will be standing there with them, cheering for you. I'm here whenever you need. These ladies and all of our members, the list goes on. When you put the bat signal in the sky, we'll come running. I am so excited about next year and the future ahead. And as we've seen, there will be challenges, there will be twists and turns, there will be disagreements. We're all sisters, and together we can do anything. I recently spoke with our Sustainer Emeritus members. I mentioned that to you, and had the pleasure of talking with one. And as you know, our Sustainer members are members who are above 80. And one of them said to me, after she complimented me on my remarks, she said, "Now what can we do to dig into this affordable housing issue?" And this is someone who was an active member years ago. But at her core, she is still a change agent. She has earned the right to be more inwardly focused. But here she is, eagerly encouraging me and earnestly asking with passion, what can we do for people in our community? Christina, that is what we're about. And we're all here, and we will continue to lift this organization with you. You are never alone. So as we close out one league year and look to the next, let us do this with excitement and confidence. Confidence because we know, come what may, we can do anything together. Join me in cheering on our next president of the Junior League of Charlotte, Christina Greatrix. I look forward to great things. So I'll just come stand next to me and I'll pass it to you.
That's that support, like it never goes away, right? I told myself all day I was not going to cry tonight, and I am not going to cry tonight because Kelly is right. Tonight is about celebration. It's about excitement. It is about thanking this woman for her service the past year again, because y'all surprised me, GMM team. So please, thank you to Kelly for all of her leadership, hard work, unprecedented, all of that. But the outcomes, you guys, the outcomes were there. Thank you. Thank you. All of those past presidents who stood up here in person, those of you who are virtual. Thanks to everyone who is here today. I'm just So honored to be standing here. I also have to, of course, thank my family, my mom and dad, who are hopefully still watching virtually, Mary and Robert Kroczak, and my husband, Jordan, and our kids, Claire and Chase, for supporting me, encouraging me, and sharing me with everyone. So earlier tonight, I mentioned the letter I wrote to my future self. It's actually an email, and it will land in my email inbox next May. I want to share a little bit of what I wrote with you all because honestly, I can't do it without you. So there were two asks. One, what do the incoming presidents hope to gain for themselves? And then what do we hope to do for our leagues? And for me, I really hope to continue to strengthen my junior league friendships and relationships and continue to build more. When I listen to the introductions from our award winners today, I'm astounded that I'm in the same room with you all. We have a phenomenal group of women, and it's an honor to be part of this team. I joined this organization to meet other women who wanted to support our community, and that's what this community is, and it means so much to me. My second goal is to integrate your feedback on how the Junior League as a whole serves our members and community as we move, hopefully, out of our unprecedented times and start to figure out what our new normal is. So while we have work to do together in order to chart that path forward, again, today is a celebration. It's a day for us to look at our hard work, the great pictures we saw, the memories we made over the past year, and recognize that we are one JLC. So with that, just over time, at 8:31 p.m., I declare this meeting adjourned. And I didn't cry.
Now, everybody, there's live music outside, gifts for you, desserts. So meet at least 3 new people before you head home. I know it's a Tuesday night, but we wanted to create the atmosphere for you to be able to connect and have a little fun. Thank you so much. And award winners, come up for a quick picture. Thank you. And scholarships.